Hi guys, Sean Malone, Crisis Response International. This is an 11 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, Friday the 25th. Just want to update you and bring you up to speed. We've been trying to keep you guys updated with pictures and videos from what's been happening on the ground. At the same time, we're just also trying to be sensitive to the population here that we're serving. But anyway, the team has been amazing. Thank you, all cry responders who have been able to come out, get here on the ground. I know some of you have been held back for a period of time. We can only have so many people on the ground. Actually, a prayer request is that more housing would open up for us to determine how long we can actually stay here on the ground. We don't want to be taking up resources that could be used, obviously, for displaced victims. But so we've been working at a couple different locations, been working in Hanakauai, coming along a local response effort, really have built trust there. Been doing haircuts and talking story, debriefing people. You know, the other day we were just sitting there actually, we had just finished our team debrief. We're taking communion, and the camp leader actually brought one of his good friends over and said, hey, you guys did this for me. I can't do this or use the words that you guys words, but would you talk with my friend? And he just sat down. He had just gotten the news that he had lost a dear friend, and debriefed with about 15 of us. And it was really a powerful moment just to sit with this man and just listen to him. That's really a lot of what we're doing in terms of ministry. People need to tell their story. And so we did that. And he went around, gave everybody hugs. One of our responders stood up, gave him a big hug, and I saw that he was whispering in this guy's ear, and I saw the eyes, his eyes get real big, and he said, I haven't heard the voice of God in over 20 years. I want to hear his voice more. And I don't know what was said, but one of our responders just gave him a word of encouragement from the heart of the Lord. And the next night he brought his wife back, and that's just a little snapshot. We're doing a lot of debriefings, a lot of loss, a lot of loss of life, a lot of stories of escape. You've seen the news, you can imagine, and our teams have just lovingly come alongside of this community. What we're seeing right now on the ground, there's been this groundswell of local response efforts, which is just amazing. I haven't seen anything like this on the majority of the deployments that we've been on, where the locals just really have rose to the occasion, people on other islands. And because of that, it has extended what we call the heroic phase. So you have the shock, where people are in disbelief of what's actually happened. Then there's this heroic phase where everybody jumps into action, and we're starting to see that now decline, where there's this sense of disillusionment. And eventually, there's this normalization and a new normal and a rebuilding phase, but we quite haven't gotten to that point yet. And so, what I'm kind of seeing now is that heroic phase is beginning to wane, and there's pockets of need beginning to rise, meaning, relief teams are pulling out, local response is beginning to dry up, and we're seeing pockets of very unique needs in different communities, like let's say shut-ins or people who don't have mobility to get to distribution centers, and the people don't have water. There's still pockets that don't have internet, and so we're going out, finding these communities, setting up Starlink. We're doing haircuts, which you wouldn't think is a huge need in the midst of a disaster. You got to understand that everything in that community, not everything, but a lot of things are shut down, or people aren't able to return to work, or the people who run those businesses are no longer around, whether they lost their lives or if they've relocated. And so we're meeting these different needs. We're also have a lot of favor with the police department, law enforcement, and we set up outside the police station. We have also let them know that we have capable chaplains who are able to do death notifications. And so as this heroic phase is kind of coming in and waning, it's also going to coincide with the final death count. And let me just say this: there's a lot of confusion around the death count. There's a lot of complexities with this. We heard from one DHS guy who's involved in the search and rescue, the recovery efforts. Is they're just finding ashes, and they're finding, the teeth explode. Sorry to be so graphic, but I want to explain to you one of the reasons why the death count hasn't come in. There's other reasons, but they're just finding the roots of people's teeth. It's terrible, but the DNA testing on that takes a lot longer to do that. It's a lot more complex to do that. So there's that, and then you got to remember that it's a very international community. It's not just Hawaiians, but you have Hispanics, you have Filipinos, you have other islanders, Pacific Islanders as well. And some of those people, some of that demographic doesn't want to come forth and give their DNA for whatever reason. Maybe they're off the grid, maybe they're illegals. It's really hard to say, but those are some of the complexities. And then just this morning, we heard that the 1100 number, it went up from 800 to 1100 yesterday. Now it's down to a third of that. There's a lot of confusion around that. Hopefully that number is really, really low, and that's an actual number, just a few hundred. But we don't know. But we know that it's dragged out because of some of those complexities with how that is done. Again, we're offering our services to be able to do those death notifications. I heard a news conference yesterday where they said they don't have the people to do that. And that's one of the things that some of our chaplains are capable of doing. We actually have a police and fire chaplain on the ground with us now. So, we also have law enforcement from the mainland as well. They're ministering to first responders. One of the things that we're going to be trying to do as well is we're going to try to get air purifiers. If you have a contact that has a plane available or can hook us up with air cargo, we're going to try and buy a mass quantity of air purifiers for what is called the Hawaiian Homelands neighborhood. It's the neighborhood just above the fire line, above Lahaina. And you got to imagine the air quality is terrible over there with all of those pollutants in the air. Just think if your house burnt down to the ground, all of the things in your house would be in that ash, and then that ash gets stirred up in the wind. It's really a great concern over here right now. So anyway, that is my report. We'll keep you guys updated. I just want to say thank you so much. We need your prayers. And I just want to say this, just on a final note, to everybody out there, an encouragement to you. One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to listen to the people on the ground. We're trying to let them have their voice be heard in this. There's a lot of dynamics, with Hawaii to begin with, and now you add this terrible trauma where there's a disconnect between local government, what happened and why. But try and get your information from people on the ground. I could tell you there's a lot of things wrong, here, a lot of things broken. But I would say this, one of the things that, we're viewing, one of the things that we're seeing here on the ground, there was obviously a lot of wind. There's looks like a hurricane came through, roofs are ripped off. Power lines are down, power poles are broken, trees are down. That's really obvious. There was a lot of wind. There was a lot of fire. That fire moved really quickly. Think about, a campfire or a fire in your fireplace where you add oxygen to that. That thing really heats up. It moved really quick. The systems were overwhelmed. They ran out of water. The power was off. Wasn't, making the pumps run. That's how they get their water. They need electricity for that. So there's just things like that, that contributed to this fire. The reason why this happened, I don't really know, but let's spend our time and our energy listening to the firsthand reports on the ground, listening to the local people, listening to what they need. Maybe not so much the influencers out there who are looking for clicks. I think we can spend a lot of time and energy in the wrong direction. Let's spend our time in prayer and intercession. It really needs it. There's an intense spiritual battle here on the ground. And, and there is a real concern for the people on the ground about losing their land. The renters, they're going to have to move. There's a lot of contention over the water and over the ground already. So let's spend our time and energy there. If you have solutions, if you have ways that you think that you can help or connections, we'd love to hear from you. Email deployment@cryout.com. But we need your prayers. We need your support. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon. God bless.